you have to be the person that you want to attract in a lot of ways, in order to attract that person. And like, again, know what you're bringing to the table. There was never someone I dated that I was like, oh, this is just going to be fun. Like, I always thought it was my husband until I realized it wasn't. I never just dated someone to date them. If you want to attract someone who's funny, you have to be funny. Again, like same with how I said in life, but on the dating apps too. You know, only one thing can win per day. So is it going to be your job that day? Is it going to be your son? Or is it going to be your husband? I don't think anyone balances anything like that perfectly, but I will say it's like one thing can win a day.
Lindsey, welcome to Coffee and a Good Vibe. I'm honored to be sitting down with a podcast legend. Truly legend.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
How many years have you had We Met At Acme now?
I think it's almost a decade, which
That's
is insane. It's wild.
You were such an early innovator into the podcast space. So I got to go back into it. I know a lot of people are familiar with your platform, your show. I know there's a lot of listeners to your podcast, but for those who don't know what We Met At Acme is, could you share like, what is this podcast? And also, if you can share, like 10 years ago, starting a show, that's early days. That's like Lewis House, School of Greatness vibes. A lot of people aren't, like everyone now is starting a podcast. Mm-hmm. Back then, people were probably like, well, what's a podcast?
Yeah, certainly me. So We Met At Acme is a dating podcast that started really for millennial daters in New York City, which is what I was. I was someone who all my friends went to for dating advice, and I thought that I knew a lot about dating. But then I was dumped on my 27th birthday, and I was like, oh, wow, I obviously know nothing. And this needs to be discussed. And so I sat down with a guy friend, and we just talked about our dating lives very candidly. And I released it as a podcast, literally found a logo on like Shutterstock or something and put it out there, figured out RSS feed stuff from SoundCloud. I had no idea what I was doing, but that's how it began. Yeah. And then since then, it's hopefully become more professional.
It's literally huge. Why a podcast back then? Why not YouTube? At the time.
Oh, I never wanted to be on camera. And it's so funny because before we started this, we were just talking about how annoying it is for angles and zooming.
Yeah, real, it's like right up to your face.
I never wanted to be a face of anything. I just wanted to be a voice. And I found like I was just so much more comfortable back then just talking into a microphone, and you didn't need video back then with podcasts. And so I didn't know that you ever would. Yeah. And that was, you know, I really wanted it to have like that radio vibe of just hearing the voice, not attaching a person to it, and being able to relate to this person that you don't really know what they look like. You don't know where they're from, but you agree with the things they're saying.
Yeah. So when you started that podcast, was it just you? Were you like, I'm going to have my guy friends on? Like, what was kind of like that start of that journey? And then did you just start posting it online? I guess, like, did you have that, like, just steady growth with it? Because also it was an age where people are probably like, oh, what's a podcast? Okay, I'll listen. What platform?
Well, podcasts were slowly starting to come out into the woodwork. I knew that I only wanted it to be me as the host, but have guests on. I didn't want to do it with like a co-founder or co-host rather. Mm-hmm. And then at the time, I think I had 3,000 followers on Instagram, which sounds like nothing today, but it was a decent amount of followers for 2017. And I started posting about that I was starting the podcast, and I started the Instagram for the podcast on the same day that I released the first episode. Smart. And I got so lucky that Instagram started that poll feature on stories that same day also. Oh, so it was all like meant to be. And I started polls when I started the podcast as well.
And then from the get-go, were you just like, I know all the episodes I want to, because you have so much, like your podcast is a holy grail for so many people that come to it for advice, for everything. Like, was the pool endless because you were just genuinely so passionate about this.
That's so sweet. And yeah, I was so passionate, but I also am just such a curious person. And so I was like, I want to talk to everyone in my world about their dating experience. So I was having close friends on or acquaintances on, and they were talking about their dating lives.
Yeah.
And a lot of these people were like New York City, kind of like equivalent to Gossip Girl, like in real life people. And so I think people were intrigued to hear these people's dating stories who, you know, they followed on Instagram or this or that. They weren't celebrities, but they were people who were out and about in New York City, and they were sitting down with me, being honest and open about what their dating life has been like. And I think that was a new thing for people to hear.
I totally agree. And I think it takes a type of person, especially through having this podcast. I'm like, wow, it takes a type of person, though, to be a good host, because especially with your show, like you're making people feel very comfortable to be themselves and be very honest with their takes about it. How do you do that as a host? Like, what's been your secret sauce to really making guests open up? I know now they know the drill. They're going on We Met At Acme. Like, you can go anywhere you want with them. But back then, was it very hard to get guests, or were you like, I'm just going to have people that know me very well beforehand? Did you have people who you didn't know, and then it was like they're in the
I
room?
mostly had people I knew or friends of friends.
Yeah.
Early on, we all had a connection somehow. And I think, honestly, not having a whole production of it at first was really giving them, like, just making them more relaxed and more likely to open up. It was on my couch in my own apartment. And at the time, I wasn't sober. So, like, we would share a joint, or like, you know, I'd offer them a drink. Like, it was very laid back, chill.
You're
like
so chill. Meeting you in person for like the first 20 minutes, I'm like, you were so chill.
No, you'd be surprised. I'm honestly very type A as a mom, but I'll take it. I wanted to create an environment that we were just two friends talking on the couch, and they would forget that there was even a microphone. And so that was what I went for. And it really allowed people to talk about things that I was truly shocked that would come out of their mouths, truly. Wow. And yeah, but I think, I mean, you're a great host. I think it just like you get better and better as you talk to people.
Oh my God. I like cringe at my early episodes.
Same.
Like, I feel like the show's hitting this point right now where I'm finding like I really feel the traction with it. And I cringe. People are like, oh, I'm going back to like this guys.
Like, please
like,
don't.
Sometimes like 50 episodes ago, you had some big name, because I work in PR, and it's like in LA, I live, like I can get certain people on my show, so they go to that episode.
Right.
But then as a host, I'm like, don't listen to that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, what was the point where you were like, holy shit, this could actually become my full-time job in a business? Was it, I feel like with you were genuinely so passionate about it, and you were doing it because you wanted to help a sister out. Like, you wanted to help people.
Yeah.
Were you like, no, I want to start this thing and turn it into my business?
No, I did not think, I always thought that it was going to be a side thing. I was working in social media for brands.
Cool.
And I did not quit my job until maybe 2 years in, maybe 2.5. Just the fact that it became something that I was making more money from than my job was crazy to me. I was like, this is nuts. And it was not my intention. And I feel like if I was going to give advice to someone starting a podcast today, I would say that's how they should go about it, that it's a fun thing on the side. Because if you immediately are like, this is going to be it and it's going to be amazing, like that just, I feel like, is an aggressive thing that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen that way. You know, you really have to like slowly build it. And yes, some people can get successful overnight, but it's hard to sustain.
Also, that energy of like, it's almost like a desperate energy. Like, this is the only way. This is the only path. Then it never works out that way.
Right. Yeah. No, it's true.
What was, like, for people who don't maybe understand, what are the pathways to monetization on a podcast? Was it, especially in the early days, like ad read? Did you sign to a network right away? Because now in the podcast space, it's like, if you are a big show, you are with a big known network to get certain placements of ads as well.
Yeah. So early on, it's funny. I actually never did my ads myself. Like, I never brought in brands myself. Before Dear Media existed, I was working with a random like sports advertising company, and I think it was like a few weeks into making my podcast. So there's no ads immediately. And then a few weeks in, I got connected to this sports company through my mom's friend's friend. And they were like, we'll advertise on your podcast.
Yeah.
And it had nothing to do with my content. Like I would be talking, having a conversation with someone like you. And then I would be like, you should buy like baseball gloves, blah, blah. And it was so random
that's so crazy that
and
the
off
brands
brand.
did it.
I know.
The brands now are like, is the avatar the same?
Yeah, like
you need
it
to
was
understand.
so random and just not aligned with me at all. But there was a girl who was working at that company who loved We Met at Acme and who was like a contemporary person to me. And she was part of the reason that I stuck with that ad company. And then I got reached out to by this woman, Paige Port, who's awesome. She's now the president of Dear Media. And she was like, we're starting a podcast company for women in podcasting. It was going to be women only at first. And we'd love to sign We Met at Acme. And I was like, what? Like, why? That's so crazy. It just sounded like they were building something big. And I was so honored that they wanted me to be a part of it.
How many years ago was this?
This was maybe a year in, maybe a little less, maybe like 6 months into starting my podcast.
They were so early. You were so early.
It was crazy. It was crazy. And so that's how I started to really monetize my podcast was that Dear Media would have these great connections because the people behind Dear Media were at digital brand architects, so they already had these relationships with all these brands, and they would find an advertiser and they would, pitch it to you. You'd say yes, and then they would take a percentage, and that's how the monetization would work.
Wow. You truly are living. Are you living your dream job, your dream, like something
yes,
you would have manifested?
Definitely. I love it so much. I think you definitely get into the game of like, am I doing enough? Can I be doing more? Can I be more successful? This and that, I think that's just inevitable when you work for yourself.
Yeah.
But it's been truly a dream and I've gotten to meet so many amazing people. Have you decided to join a network?
Oh my gosh. So I've been starting to talk to Dear Media. As of I do a lot of live events for my podcast, especially in LA, and they came to one of them, and then that's how that conversation started. But
nice.
I'm very open to it. I'm kind of at the point right now where it's like it has to be the right network.
Yeah, of course.
And it has to be like if it's either I'm a huge fan of Dear Media, so it's like I wouldn't just sign to someone else. It would be like that type of network, something big, or I don't want it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of just like. When you've been running your podcast for so long and like wearing all the hats and like hiring contractors to help you produce it, it's like you it's your baby.
Definitely.
And I think you can't I think there's a lot of networks other than Dear Media out there who would be like, we want to sign your show.
Right.
But it's so important to sign to the right network.
Yes, it's so true.
I was with these other podcast hosts who I won't name on here, but they were growing really quickly and a big network. I could just say it and then I'll beep it out. But Unwell wanted to sign them.
Yeah.
So then I work in this industry and I do I help brand influencers with partnerships. I work on the brand side with my agency. So I have a lot of intel and knowledge on deal structure and all of that. And I did it. I remember doing one of them lived in New York, one of them lived in LA, and we did an hour and a half Zoom call, and we ended up becoming friends. But I was sharing with them my hot takes on their contract and what I thought, and it's just so wild. At some of the deals that
why it wasn't a good deal.
I think that it was going to be, and then the network seemed like they didn't want them anymore, and then they had another network. But actually, that whole thing, what happened is the co-hosts actually got in a big fight.
Oh, I think I just
you
went on.
saw that.
I just went on one of their podcasts.
Yeah, they now have two separate podcasts.
Yes, I went on the brunette.
Emma.
Yeah,
she's my good friend.
Yeah.
Yes, I love Emma.
I was actually sitting in this chair.
Yeah, Emma always uses the studio.
Yeah,
she always uses the dark. But yeah, did she tell you the whole story?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's nasty.
Crazy.
I'm it's such a blessing in disguise they didn't sign to a network, because imagine if they would have before. It's just more shit to deal with, more
yes, totally.
more drama.
Mm-hmm.
on We Met At Acme, having this like huge community of women, men, like who come to you for advice, what has been like your secret sauce, you think, for building this like really engaged fan base? Like in New York, especially, do you walk outside and get people come out to you, Lindsey, I need advice?
Sometimes. I
so
think
happen.
you have to be really personable in these situations. I know a lot of people and creators who don't really engage other than when they share their own stuff. But I am in my DMs like religiously talking to everyone who follows me, everyone who DMs me, and giving them advice or putting up their poll question or talking to them about, whatever it is. It's so important for me to engage with people in my community because that's the only way I feel like it can grow and really reflect
Totally
what's going on. And I can also have my finger on the pulse because I'm obviously out of the dating game by now. And that's really helpful. I also do in-person events a lot. And those have been really great. We haven't done one in a little while and I need to get back on it for the summer. But those are great ways to engage as well.
What was the start of the in-person events? Because when did you start doing the in-person ones? It's
really
so
early
now, because like now a lot of people want to do like live shows and pop up in cities, but especially I feel like with your like community, were your in-person events mostly women? Was it like a place where like women and men came and like people met people, or was it mostly?
Well, the live podcasts were, I would say, mostly women, but then we would do mixers and it would be 50-50.
Sort of a matchmaking business.
Yeah, no, exactly. And so it's been really cool, just all different types of events. But the mixers were really fun, and then live podcasts, and like I would tour around the country, which was amazing. And I miss that for sure. I definitely want to do that again at some point.
Wow. With community, because you're a mom and you have a mom community as well. What is your biggest tips, I think, for someone out there who maybe be in they're a brand owner, they have a completely other personal brand and niche that they have, and they have their own podcast. I think across the board, like these tips though are universal. Like if you are a running apparel brand, like you should be building community. Everyone should be building community. What is your secret sauce to like building an engaged community? You shared a lot about like you're really engaged with the audience.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the biggest part of it. And I think not being afraid to create something for people. And also, why are you creating it, right? So for the mom community, I created it because I needed it too. Yeah. I created We Met At Acme because I needed it too. Like I needed the dating advice. So it's like, yes, you can create something for other people, but would you want it, And so just being tuned into, is this something that is really useful, not just for other people, but for me, because I'm also a person who needs community. You know what I mean? And it's like, just doing something that you will also be a part of. Like, I don't create these communities and then I'm like, okay, have fun. Like, I'm very much involved and like engaged with it too. And anytime someone messages, for example, in the mom WhatsApp group, and they're like, can you make a non-toxic moms subgroup? I'm like, yes, right away, of course. Like I am just always like listening to what these moms are saying and I'm learning from them. And so, yeah, just like listening and learning to what kinds of communities people are needing.
And it's so powerful what you said on what you want. Like We Met At Acme started from like your own need of like wanting to create this. And then same thing with the mom community. I think a lot of people try to like sometimes do something because it's trending or like they see other people doing it or like they should do that. But it's like you as the founder of this has to truly need it, want it, love it.
You need to be passionate
especially
about
when it gets hard or like when the hours are so tedious with even producing an event or a meetup. You have to really love it.
Yeah, it's so true. You really do.
So crazy. Well, I have to talk to you about dating in big cities because I think a lot of people they come to you for all the advice, and there's so many things that you share on your podcast about this. And I personally am the type of person, especially with like having this platform and being heavy in like the entrepreneur niche, I'm always like, do the inner work. The inner work is everything to create your life, to create your business, to create your brand. Like, it's all about like making sure you're building you as a person, a thought leader, an abundant human. What do you think is the secret sauce to attracting in your dream partner? Because you truly have met your like dream partner, your person. And what do you think have been like the inner work components that have brought you to meet your partner?
Yeah, well, I think you're spot on. It's all about working on yourself, the inner work. For me, therapy was a big part of it. Getting sober, which was my personal necessary journey.
Yeah.
And I think finding my own passion in life and my career and doing something that like really lights me up. I think the combination of those three is really and also just knowing like what I'm bringing to the table. I feel like that is so overlooked when it comes to dating, and single friends of mine that are like, why haven't I found my person? It's like, well, what are you offering? Like, you hate your job. You have 3 roommates. Like, you don't feel good about your body, but like you expect someone to come in who has a perfect body, their own like bachelor pad that's gorgeous and well designed. And like, this and that. And it's like, you have to be the person that you want to attract in a lot of ways. In order to attract that person and like, again, know what you're bringing to the table.
That is it's so true, and it's so needed to be. A lot of people sometimes need to hear it, as much as it doesn't sound great to like flip the flashlight back on ourselves.
Yeah.
And look at all the parts of us that are like not sunshine and rainbows. That's like the key thing that we need to do in order to like attract anything, even from like a friendship level. Like, we attract what we are.
It's so true. What is it, like water seeks its own level or something?
I know. I don't know the quote off the top of my head, but I know exactly
something like that. Yeah.
Do you recommend, are you someone who's like journal, like start understanding what you want? A lot of people say like, oh, write down all the traits that you want in your dream person. Are you a manifester when it comes to
I'm not a
love?
journaler, but I did write down my needs versus my wants. And I did that a few different times. And I would say that I was lucky enough to get everything I needed. Not necessarily everything I wanted, but that wasn't the point of the exercise,
Yeah. Can you share how you met your partner?
Yeah. We met when we were 29. Well, we actually knew of each other before then. We had met a few times, been at the same parties. In the city? No, we didn't meet in the city, but we were both living in the city. He's from Westchester. I'm from New York, the city.
Yeah.
And we would be at the same parties. One of my best friends from college went to high school with him. So I knew who he was. He knew who I was. And when we were 29, we were in Miami at a New Year's party, and we stumbled onto the dance floor at the same time. I actually was in a relationship at the time.
Oh, no.
But it was like a moment where we saw each other. He said something to me. I didn't really think about the fact that he existed still. Like, it took a second. That relationship I was in was over for a long time, but we were holding on because there was a close friendship. And then I ended up ending that relationship a few weeks after and reached out to Steven, my husband. And I basically was like, you can take me out now, because I knew he had wanted to. And the rest is history.
Did he make it clear?
Yeah, he made it pretty clear.
How did you have the confidence to do that? I feel like some women would be like, no, I'm not going to do anything.
I think what I will say is that if you would have done something, if you knew that he said something about me to a friend that made it very clear that he wanted to take me out. So I feel like if you had that knowledge, you would have done the same thing.
And then from that, you went out, game over. You're like, this is my man.
Basically, yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Prior to that, were you always dating in the city? Were you in long-term relationships? Were you
Yes, I was such a serial monogamist. I was always in a relationship.
Wow.
Like, I was very rarely single.
Do you recommend, you know, like a lot of singles are listening to this. I think I have a lot of audience in LA and New York, and there's a lot of women who are, you know, in their 30s and they're single. And I hear women say this all the time. Like, they're like, you know, I just have to, they'll go out with guys even if it's not the guy, because they're just like, I want to get the reps in. Or do you believe in that strategy?
No, I mean, I don't know. When's your birthday?
I'm April 1st, Aries.
Oh, okay. Love it. So I'm a Libra. So we're very hopeless romantics. There was never someone I dated that I was like, oh, this is just going to be fun. Like I always thought it was my husband until I realized it wasn't.
And you wouldn't go on the date without like that, thinking that.
No, I would go out on a date with anyone. I was a yes person, which I really think you need to be when you're single. But I wouldn't get into a relationship with someone if I didn't think they could be my husband. And then as soon as I realized they weren't, it was over.
I love that.
But like I never just dated someone to date them.
100%. How can singles meet people? What is the best way? I think
you need to be on dating apps. You really do. I think Hinge is so great. Like I do dating consultations and I go over their Hinge profiles and talk to people on Hinge for them. It's so much fun, let me tell you, especially because like I love bantering and I feel like, you know, you don't get to do that a lot.
You do it with women or men or both? Which more?
Like both, all. And it's so much fun. So I think being on dating apps, I think going out and actually speaking to people. I was actually just talking to our mutual friend Krista about how she now when she goes out, all she does is talk to everyone, not just like the hot guys, like all the guys.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important, you know, going to like-minded events. If running is important to you, joining a run club, all of that stuff.
With the dating apps, could you give us your non-negotiables that everyone should adjust on their profile that they need? Like if you can share a little bit of like Lindsey consult right now.
Yes. Well, there's a method to the profile itself. So there needs to be one photo of you alone with no sunglasses, no hat. So like you can actually see who you are. One photo with friends, so you can see that they have friends. One photo with family. And then like the rest, it doesn't really matter. But those are important to show, I think. And then with prompts, you wanna actually give them something to work with about you that isn't just like what I order for the table, like chips and guac. You know, you want to give them something about you, like believe it or not, I am the only child or something, like just something that's actually information about you as one of the answers. And then I think the others can be lighthearted and funny. Like there's no, you know, if you want to attract someone who's funny, you have to be funny. Again, like same with how I said in life, but on the dating apps too. So say something, you know, that shows that you don't take yourself too seriously. Have fun with it as if you were taking over a friend's dating profile, you know, like don't attach to it too much because that will come across as like you're dying to meet your husband. I also don't like, and this is getting really specific, but I don't like to put like looking for monogamy, wanting a husband, like like wants kids, because I just feel like men see that and they're like, oh my God, she just like wants someone to have kids with and like to get married tomorrow. Whereas like if you just kind of leave the profile a little open, like they're probably yes, of course you want those things, but you're not leading with that, which can just seem like a little intimidating, I think.
Are you big on when you match with someone, a FaceTime first or a call versus a date?
I was never a FaceTime girly, but I think times have changed.
And you're in New York. New York is so much easier to meet
like it's really easy to just, you can literally have a 30-minute coffee with someone. It doesn't have to be so committal, but I think you don't really know the vibe until you're in person. If you want to do a FaceTime, obviously do what works for you. I've heard that that's fine for people, but I think like a little quick coffee doesn't hurt, or like a drink for an hour.
I love that. With big cities, are you of the mindset that, you know, I hear this so much, and I personally don't like it when people say like, oh, it's because LA, New York, it's full of Peter Pans, it's full of this. I don't like that because I think if you affirm that out loud, then that's going to be your reality. Because like I see people like you, I see friends in my life that are our mutuals who are in amazing relationships, and they lived in a big city, and then it's just with the right person. Do you like sabotage that when someone says that to you, or do you shut them down with being like, that's your own interpretation?
Yeah, I don't think that's true. I mean, obviously people get married later in big cities because there's more to do. But I don't think that it's like a Peter Pan syndrome. There's always going to be a 37-year-old guy who's still not ready to settle down, like out anywhere in the world. And like that's on them. But you know, that's not the norm. That's the exception.
1000%.
I think that a man is ready to settle down when he meets the person he wants to settle down with. I
completely agree with that. Do you think both partners need to be constantly doing the work on themselves, like in therapy, because sometimes you meet someone who, they're not doing it. Do you think if you met a guy and he wasn't into any type of personal development, therapy, journaling, meditation, like some type of mindful routine, would you say run?
No, I wouldn't say run. Yeah, I wouldn't say run. I would say, like, how well is he? Like, is he mentally well? Because, like, if he is, then he doesn't need to necessarily be doing it this second, but he's going to have to do it at some point. Maybe it's not right now, but maybe it's, you know, when he goes off and starts his own business, or maybe when, you know, a lot of men, especially like I hate to use the term like manly men, but you know, like are not just going to go to therapy to go to therapy. They need a reason to get in the door. And like, as much as I wish that was not the case, it is. So like, has their reason to get in the door happened yet? Maybe not. And that's okay. It's going to.
That's so good.
It's just a matter of when.
Yeah. With your relationship, especially now that you have a 1-year-old, right?
Crazy.
How do you believe that once you're in the relationship, like getting the relationship is one thing, but for all the people listening who are in a relationship or married or about to have a kid, like that foundation needs to be so incredible. Yeah. Like I went on a date with this guy yesterday, and one of the things he said to me is how his parents have been married for, I forgot how many years, a lot of years, and they're absolutely in love with each other. Like he's like, my dad adores my mom, and I think that is so beautiful. And like, clearly, like they're both doing the work on their relationship. Like, what do you think makes a love like that last?
I think a lot of hard work. I don't think anything comes easy. And I think we look at our parents, you know, if they're still together for 30, 40, 50 years, whatever it is, and you don't see the work, but they know. They know that it's because, you know, they're choosing their partner every day and they're really working hard to stay in this relationship and make sure that their partner feels seen, their partner feels loved, and vice versa. And I think it's a practice as much as it's like love. And, you know, obviously you need the foundation of being attracted to each other, having like the connection with one another, but you also have to do a lot of work. You really do. It doesn't come overnight. Like those amazing 40-year marriages, they did not just happen with ease.
I love that answer. And is it something, are the steps around that, like continuing to have a date night, like going to maybe therapy or having time where you're chatting through the relationship? I was at my girlfriend's wedding shower on the weekend, and it was like her mom, the groom's, like his mom, and they're like older women, like and then their friends were there, and one of the friends like came to our table and was like, you know, she was like, I've been married for like 70 years, and she's like, the one thing I would say to you guys is like, with a relationship, there's you, there's the partner, and there's the relationship. She's like, there's 3. And
like that.
That's what she said. And then she walked away. And that was the advice we got.
That's amazing. I mean, I don't know her, but I feel like her message is like, you got to take care of yourself and they have to take care of themselves.
And then you got
otherwise you can't bring anything to the relationship, you know? It's like you got to put yourself as the number one so that you can both bring it to the relationship. So I think that's a big part of it. I think, you know, once you have kids, a lot of people start prioritizing the kid over the relationship. I think the relationship still has to come first.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you got to talk. You can't stop communicating. You really got to talk. You can't let things just sweep under the rug. You got to keep them above the rug. Yeah, exactly.
Wow, I love that. How have you been able to do it all, balancing the career, motherhood, being a partner? You have glowing skin, like being with you right here in person. Like, guys, on social media,
so do you.
can put like filters. They swipe some Paris on their stuff. Like,
it's really nice. You have amazing skin too.
And you're like, I give so much credit to moms because I'm not there yet, but I know once you enter motherhood how much of a job that is. And I could tell you're an amazing mom and you're very passionate about being the best mom because you're literally like the leader of the mom community as well. How do you have such how is your day in the life structure? Like, how do you manage to do it all and do it with grace and calmness?
Yeah, it's really hard. And I don't think anyone balances anything like that perfectly. But I will say it's like one thing can win a day. And I heard this years ago from someone sharing in a meeting I was in that, you know, only one thing can win per day. So is it going to be your job that day? Is it going to be your son? Or is it going to be your husband? Because you really got to choose. It's not going to be a day where everyone wins. And if you go into it thinking that it is, you're going to be so upset every time. You kind of got to choose something and like ride with it. So my job is winning today. Like, I'm working really hard today and I have a lot of things that I'm working on. And, you know, obviously when I go home and I'm off, like, my son is going to win. So like, yeah, there's going to be a few things maybe, but my husband's not going to win today. I'm not going to have any time for him at the end of the day when he gets home. And so it's like, you just choose what you are able to focus on at that moment. And I don't think people talk about their childcare enough, but childcare is so important. And it makes, you know, if you have childcare, it makes you such a better mom and a more present mom because it takes a village. And I'm so grateful to our nanny who allows my husband and I to work and also be great parents. And I think that, you know, moms, especially moms who have a social media presence, who just pretend that they do it all on their own, like, I don't really love that because that's usually not the case. And if it is the case, then amazing. Like, I could never do that. But we have help with childcare and like, thank God, because it's really hard and you can't be everywhere. But I know when it needs to be me stepping in to do something with my son that's, you know, important.
I love that. You said something about like when you go home, it's like, then it's your son's time. Do you have really structured boundaries that you created with your lifestyle, especially with being in the public eye and on social media? I think these platforms can be a lot.
Yeah. Oh my God. They really are. I definitely have boundaries. So for example, when I get home, I'll probably be home a little before 6 tonight. And I'm going to just completely be with my son. It's his bath time. We're going to read. We're going to hang. We're going to play. I'm going to put him to bed. That's like my boundary. Like, after 6 p.m., don't even try to contact me. If I'm going out to dinner that night, like, we'll get a sitter, whatever, but I'm not going out to dinner tonight, thank God. And then just boundaries with social media, with the parenting stuff. I am just never going to be the mom who's like putting her phone in my kid's face, like for stories and things like that. I don't have a problem posting his face and like what he looks like, but I'm not going to document his life like that. Like, I'll post videos of him after the fact, pictures of him from like a roundup of our time together. But I don't love like an in real time, like, hey, it's me and my son, or you know what I'm saying? Or like, say hi to the camera. Like, I'm not that's just not my vibe. But like, no disrespect with people who do that, and you know, maybe their kids love it, but it's not for me.
How do you have such strong like mindsets around yourself? You know, like with social, I think that these platforms, they can be the most loving and nurturing places with love and community, but they can also, like, even with having such a strong, I could tell with your audience, like you are like, you're helping them so much. So obviously it's so much love, but there's always a little bit of like trolls, especially as you grow, and especially with your platform. Sometimes you have guests on that people might not agree with, and they don't want to see another side.
Yeah.
Do you just have a strict boundary where you don't read it, you delete comments, especially for people listening who are, you know, wanting to build the brand in the public eye? I think that's what holds people back from taking action.
I think it depends. Like if it's a video that doesn't have a lot of traction, but it has like one negative comment, I'll delete it because I'm like, that's the only thing people are going to see. Like, that's sad, you know, It's sad to me or to our guests, whatever they're talking about. If it's a viral video where people are blowing up the comments every day saying something negative, I'll just leave it there. Cause like argue amongst yourselves. You know what I mean?
Who's been your most like viral guest?
Most recently, Emily Oster, who is a parent scientist.
Males.
Oh, well, this guy, Benny.
I listened to that one.
Yeah, Benny Hart.
So good. After that episode, I was like, who is this Benny Hart?
Yeah.
I love when you have these like men who are so opinionated.
Right.
Because you are so in your zone and you just like don't give a fuck. You'll say your opinion.
No, I love that.
And then you have these strong personality men who think like they believe that they're right, but they're also very, I think with the platform you built in the show, they respect your platform because they're also down to like have you counter them.
Yeah.
But it's just so great.
No, it's so funny. I need to find more men like that because there aren't that many men on social media
that are open to talk
that are like, that can hold their own really. But yeah, so he was a bit controversial and then Emily Oster. And so like when it's like that, when people are just like commenting every few seconds, I'm like, I'm not gonna delete those. Like, how am I gonna deal with that? Yeah.
Okay, I have to be so mindful on time, but I want to do a rapid fire round with you on like, it's kind of like all over on just different takes and everything like that. And then we've been doing these like smash or passes. So I'm gonna implement that because I want to get some of your takes on that, but I'll cue you when you can just smash or pass on that.
Love it.
Okay, so rapid fire. Favorite episode that you've ever done of We Met At Acme?
Oh, that's so hard.
I know it's so hard, and someone's gonna be like, "Which one are you saying?"
Even though it's not my favorite, I'm gonna say my first because that's the easiest answer. Because like it was a foray into the rest of it,
and it's still up.
It's still up there.
Love that. Okay, one myth about dating you'd like to debunk.
Like if it's meant to be, it will.
I love that.
I don't think that's true.
That because I love that.
No, but I'm saying I don't think. I
don't
think
like that one?
No, I don't think that's true.
Wait,
that's a myth that I'm debunking as it not being true.
Oh my god, why?
Because like if you're fucking nuts, it's not gonna be. You know what I mean? Like you could.
If you're doing the work on yourself and doing all the right things, then do you agree with it?
Yes.
One mantra or quote that you live by.
If you're confused, they're not interested.
Fuck. That's good. A must-have on your dating profile.
Something funny.
Dream guest for your podcast. Speak it into existence. You kind of said one.
Oh, Mel Robbins. Let's go.
That would so easily. Why hasn't that happened? I feel like that could happen tomorrow.
She's busy.
But it's like a yes.
Yeah, hopefully.
Like when? You should run if a guy does this.
Talk shit about his ex.
Oh. Wow. Tea. Best piece of advice you would give to a single listener.
Be a yes person.
And then best piece of advice you would give to a listener in a relationship.
Don't pick your battles.
You got wise answers. Okay, now we're gonna do some smash or passes because you just can do smash or pass, so it's not like
Okay.
overloaded. Okay, smash or pass. Having a dating roster.
Smash.
Dating apps are the best way to meet your person.
Pass. Not that they're not. There's just other ways too.
Voice prompts on Hinge.
Pass. Hard.
Going on 3+ dates a week.
Smash.
Dating someone who doesn't have social media.
Smash.
Taking a break from dating to focus on you.
Pass.
Therapy before dating.
Pass. I mean, like, obviously it's important, but it's fine if you don't. Yeah.
Journaling about your ideal partner daily.
Pass. I'm not a journaler.
Going to dinner alone.
Smash. Smash. Smash.
Saying no to this person if they give you the ick. When they're objectively great, but they have like one ick.
Pass.
If they wanted to, they would.
Smash.
Creating vision boards for your love life.
Pass. It's too much.
Second chances after cheating.
Oh my God. Pass.
Having access to each other's platforms, like social media.
Pass.
Prenups.
Smash.
Saying I love you first.
Pass.
Social media stalking before a first date.
Smash.
Discussing exes with a new partner.
Smash.
Staying friends with your ex.
Pass.
Dating someone who doesn't believe in therapy.
Pass.
Splitting the bill on the first
Pass. Get that out of here.
If you're attracting emotionally unavailable people, time to look inward.
Smash.
You can't be loved until you fully love yourself.
Smash.
I'm going to end it there.
That was so
good.
fun.
You're so good. Lindsey,
You're so
plug
good.
yourself. I know you have a heart.
Wherever you listen to podcasts, we met at Acme. I'm also on Instagram. We met at Acme. We met at Baby, Lynn's Mets, and on Substack as well.
How can they join the mom community and then in general, like the events?
Yeah, so the mom community is in my bio on my We Met at Baby Instagram. And for events, just follow We Met at Acme, and I post about them all the time.
And listen to her podcast. It's
Yeah,
so
check it out.
good.
Thank you.
Thank you.